And they're actually kind of grown. They like doubled in size overnight. These are expired, probably like a full year. They're 2 years old. The shelf life is probably, I've heard 6 to 8 months to a year. These are a full 2 years old. They were in my fridge for most of it, and it didn't seem to affect the hatch rate. When I first started out, I was so picky, measuring it down to the grain of salt. Now you realize these things will hatch under like any condition practically. Almost no salt, way too much salt, all different kinds of salt, whole wide range of temperatures. It's freezing, effing cold down here, probably high 50s, low 60s. I put them on a seedling mat for sprouting seedlings. It doesn't get very warm. I think it's probably 72, this water. I should check it. I did initially, I would clip the hatching thing on the side of my fish tank, which is about 78 degrees, and that would keep the container that temperature. But after one or two accidents of spilling the whole thing in the fucking tank, I stopped doing that. But I still having real good success, even with the cold temperatures and lackluster effort. And looking at them, there's a freaking lot. There's a lot. It's one of my bigger hatches. Sea monkeys, back when I was a kid. See these for sale in the back of like comic books and shit. And they show like this family, big family hanging out, playing basketball, watching TV. It's these things. These are what they would send you. You have to hatch them. They're attracted to light, and that makes collecting them a little easier. If you use some light, they'll be attracted to the light. Bigger fish won't see them. They're so small. I cannot seem to grow these to adults. I have had no luck. I've tried about 8 times, and I just can't seem to get it. They just will die off on me by tomorrow. But unless your fish are small, like babies, fry, or like say a beta Siamese fighting fish size or smaller, the fighting fish can see them. That's about the size of it. The smallest. See how many's in this one. Those are all spots on the cup from the salt water, I think. Yeah. Hello, South by the Barn 410. God, I sold my 410. I'm gonna punch myself right in the face. I've heard debated recently about it not being strong enough for home defense. Like, fuck that. It's plenty strong for home defense. Plenty strong. I sure as hell wouldn't want to get hit by a 410. Not bird shot, nothing. But my fish wasn't eating. at a sick ass goldfish and it stopped eating. Once they stop eating, they're done. They won't recover. As long as they're still eating, they'll probably recover no matter what. Once they stop eating, it's all downhill. But I've been using an eyedropper and ever so gently blasting this right in his face, so he's eating the stuff whether he likes it or not. He knows they're there, and they're must be good because he's actively going after the eyedropper. When I put it in there, he goes right for it. These are just brine shrimp that I hatched to feed my sick fish. Sea monkeys. They're hard as fuck to see because they're microscopic. There you go. Squirting around in there. Let's take an eyedropper, suck a bunch in, squirt it right in the fish's face. Oh man, what else is happening here? Playing Company Heroes from 1999, this game is. Playing on Windows 98. Gotta plug the charger in. It's one thing that sucks about the new Samsungs. There's no port for like a microphone or a jack or headphones. Everything's charging cable. That's all there is. Can't have two accessories. I am in fucking the sunny Palm Line shores of Buffalo, New York. Where I got a solid fucking foot of ice in my driveway. My body's sore from chopping that fucking shit for 2 weeks. Recent cuttings, first real good batch in the last 4. I've had 4 runs, grow runs of about 6 plants each that just totally died on me. For one reason or another, they just went to hell. All different plants. This one's so fucking sticky. Holy shit. I wish I could smell that. Very frosty. Came out super good. A little strong. Choked the ever loving shit out of you. It's not as fun anymore. Now that it's legal, it's not quite the same. It's not the same. Something about risking losing your house just tends to motivate you a little bit. People have done life sentences for growing pot. Now here in New York, you're allowed to grow 12 plants per household. Which is fucking awesome. They have a million stores pop up, but they all got shut down. And there's so many of them that they're $50 ounces. I was going to stop growing. I can't even grow the fucking shit for $50 an ounce. Fucking closed them down. They weren't licensed or whatever the fucking deal was. Now you gotta go to the Indians. Indian reservation.
It got stuck in the branch that was growing on, and then it...
This is one of the containers that I use to hatch brine shrimp. It'll have some aeration in it, but in this particular, I've pretty much used it all up, as you can see. But I've still got all of this salt water, and there's still some shrimp down here at the bottom and a few unhatched eggs. So this is the water that I'm going to use to raise these shrimp up to adults. What I don't want is all these empty shell casings on the top. So, since I got to hold the camera, I will show you, but what I do is I siphon this salt water down into the container that we're going to use to raise the shrimp in. By the siphoning, I can siphon from the bottom. Got a kink in my hose here. I can siphon from the bottom so that I get as much of the water and the unhatched eggs and a handful of those baby shrimp that are still in there. I get all of that down in the container, and I don't get any of these empty egg casings, because there's no shrimp there. It's just stuff that's going to foul my water up quicker. So as all this is siphoning its way down, it's all going down into this container. And this egg casings, because there's no shrimp there. It's just stuff that's going to foul my water up quicker. So as all this is siphoning its way down, it's all going down into this container. And it's just a 19-quart container. Got a light over the top of it. One of those throwaway disposable fluorescent lights that you can change it. They're less than $20. It just sits on top 24 hours a day. Now the liquid, since I've used this one before, you can see there's the beginning of some algae on the bottom, because it's the same container I'm restarting. So this will get this little bit quart of water every day until it's got 4, 5, 6 inches of water in it. along with the baby brine shrimp. So this is what I do with the salt water that you normally throw away. This is the plastic tub that I'm siphoning the shrimp into, and the shrimp water just got a little fluorescent strip light on it and some aeration. And they're not big enough to film yet to get it here, but you can see the orange coloration there. And that's the brine shrimp that I'm raising up to be adults. I feed them spirulina powder. See it there on my thumb. Get an idea how much there is there. Not much. What they don't eat will rot, spoil the whole thing. Don't want that. Now understand, this is a short-term process that I'm doing raising these shrimp, because this is just plain salt water. It's not an ocean mix or anything. You just salted water. And as you can see, there's no filtration. I've just got some bubbles going. And that's it. So this water's not going to last forever, but it takes about 3 weeks for the shrimp to raise up to adults, and it'll last that long. And then I'll start a new tub. Okay, let's check and see how my tub's doing. It's 3 days later than the last time we checked it. And I want you to see just how incredible the shrimp growth is. There's an adult one going by. You can see I've got lots of shrimp at all different ages throughout this tub. And it really is ready to start feeding. This is just an entire tub full of shrimp at all different stages growing up. There's a bunch of good sized ones in here now that I can get with a regular fish net. That'll let all the little ones, other small ones pass right on through. And I'll have a lot of food to give to some of these apispos I have, and it ought to really trigger them to go ahead and start spawning. And remember, the only thing I'm feeding them is a little bit of spirulina powder. Right now I'm doing a little bit every day. When there's not so many shrimp in there, I do it about every 3 or 4 days, maybe once a week. And that seems to be enough to keep them going. So this is in a 19-quart plastic container. It's got about 4 inches of water in it. Been going for about 3.5 weeks because it's kind of cold here in the basement, so they've been growing slow. Got a single fluorescent strip light over the top of it that runs 24 hours a day, and just an air line. See, there's no air stone on there, just an air line in there. Bubbles to keep the water moving. That's all there is to it. You put in your leftover brine shrimp water. Make sure there's still a small number of little guys swimming around in there, or some good eggs. Put a heat source on it, and bubble it. And in 3.5 weeks, even in a cool basement, this is what you've got. Lots of nice live food. I harvested some of these growing up shrimp yesterday, but the video came out really, really bad, so I'm going to give it another try. Now, this container right here is just plain fresh water that I'm going to use to rinse the shrimp with out of the salt water to feed the fish. So we're going to come over here, and as you can see, there's lots and lots of shrimp. So I'm going to use this net and see if I can get me some. Couple of quick splashes, and then dunk it into here. Let's see what we get. And let's take a look. As you can see, it's not too bad. There's quite a few shrimp in here. What all this work is meant for is to raise these shrimp up and get them up big enough to feed the larger fish. So I got this many this time. I got about like this earlier this morning. And once all this settles down, there's still plenty of shrimp in there. Plus there's smaller ones still growing up. So this will work for 2-3 weeks before the water finally gets worn out. And I'll have another tub going by then to start taking up the slack.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Mark back in the workshop on Mark's Aquatics. Right, we are in the bowel of the shed. This is where all the naughty things live. My big blue Kerax Australian red-clawed crayfish down there. And one of the babies. The rest of them are hiding around in the pots down there. Okay, but this is where I bring on my brine shrimps. Now, a lot of you guys have been asking me how to bring brine shrimps. Obviously, anyone can just get them to hatching stage, but it's bringing them up to adult stage. Now, a lot of people find this difficult, okay? But it's not as difficult as people make it out to be. You've just got to follow a few little steps, and they are quite greedy, the guys, and they grow very quickly. So, that's what this video is going to be all about today, okay? Use the channel, guys. Use my channel. If you like the videos, hit the old subscribe button and that notification bell for upcoming videos. You're not going to miss anything that way. And if you're into your breeding fish, pop back, because I've got a whole video bank on the YouTube, okay, my playlist that you can go back to and see anything from breeding neon tetras, Congo tetras, you name it, killifish. I've done quite a lot now, so you can pop back, and it's all related with bringing on brine shrimps and keeping it fry, okay, so that's why I try and mix that two together for you. You can pop back. If you're here for the first time, you just want to learn how to raise brine shrimps to adult size. We're going to get into it right now. Now, all I use is 2 litre 50 bottles. Okay, upside down, I've got them on hooks underneath. Just cut a little hole in them, hang them up. Here's a small hole in the lid of each one, okay? Cut this very soft silicone pipe. That's quite important to get the soft silicone pipe in this, okay? Cut it at an angle, across, do it at the point, poke it through the hole, grab it with some pliers the other side, and then really yank through the hole, and it will seal itself like you can see there, so it's not going to leak all over your floor or where you need it. Now you need a light source as well, okay? My workshop in here is quite warm now, but you're going to need it at around at about 20 to 25 degrees, okay, in between that sort of range. With light, I don't bother with 24-hour light, I just use it on the normal photo period that I'm running in the workshop here. And basically what you do is you'll fill those with 1 litre of water, okay? Wait until that settles down, then you can add your salt to it. Now what I use is I use 1 tablespoon per litre, okay? So don't use table salt. Some of these cheap table salts you can buy are absolutely rubbish. They've got added iodine, chemicals, sorry. And you're just not going to get a good hatch rate at all. So make sure you're using like rock salt, sea salt, Himalayan salt, stuff like that. Something which is natural, no added anything into it, okay? You'll have a lot better success bringing on your brine shrimps with that, okay? You're going to need the water. It's got to be the salinity, which is the saltiness of the water. It's got to be from 30 to about 35 parts per trillion, okay? You're going to mix it up with a hydrometer, or one of the little flipper ones that you can use in the marine world. You guys know what I'm talking about, the little window hydrometers. For checking your salt content. And they're going to need to stay on there about, I would say, well, they're going to hatch for about 15 to 20 hours or so. With that temperature, okay, they're going to hatch in there. Just keep it a light sort of rolling. That was a little bit too aggressive. That one's about right, just above it. Just got them spiraling around in the water column like that, okay? Now you can see that one there is gone orange because they've hatched. This one I've just set up, you can see how many of those little cysts, the little eggs, are tumbling around in there. And I normally put in per litre, I'll put in maybe a teaspoon, a level spoon into there and bring them on, and that's going to be millions of them, so now they're going to hatch out. So you don't need to mix up as many as you think. What happens when you stop it, wait for about, I would say, 10 minutes, okay? And what happens is, as soon as those egg cases they separate from the egg case will float, and then they will go down to the bottom, okay? Now I tend to harvest at night because when it's dark in here, all I do is I'll get my fork like that, and I'll stand it against the side, like that, okay? And what it does is it draws, they're phototactic things. Baby brine shrimps, from when they're first born to when they're fully grown, they're attracted to light, okay? And I'll just demonstrate that a little bit. But when the light's on, they will all be drawn to that effect. We'll have a go at that. Right, okay guys, what I've done is I have now turned off the air supply, so now it's still. I'll just turn off the main tank right as well. There you go. Now you can see that water is basically an orangey colour. And if I go right close, you'll see that there is absolutely millions of them hopping around in there, down at the neck. And they are drawn to the torchlight. So still settling, see the egg cases rising to the top, and then when you get to the top you're going to get a very thick crust of eggs. Now wait about 10 minutes, okay, but be sure the egg cases in there, because that's no good for the fish, and they're not going to eat them, and they just look like sightings flying around in the tanks all over your substrate, especially if you've got a darker substrate. They show up everywhere and they last for ages before they finally degrade away. You can see those slowly going up there, and then you'll get oranger and oranger as we wait. You can see them in there thousands of thousands. So that's what I've done there. Now what I've done is I've just emptied this once. Okay, so I can put some on the top for you so I can show you those. And then you get into raising these guys then to an adult size, okay? Oh, before I say that though, what I should have said is once everything has gone down to the bottom and your pipe, then obviously lower your pipe, take it off your little air pump, put it down lower so it self-siphons out, and then you can siphon out all brine solution where all the eggs are left to the surface, and then a nice clean brine solution with all your freshly hatched artemia in, okay, in a little pot. And now we'll go upstairs and I'll show you what we're doing. Right, we're up the top of the tank now. We're on top of that little baby Corridorus tank which we've got all the babies in. I'll show you them in a while. They're all coming on in leaps and bounds and feeding on these newly hatched brine shrimps. See how many there is in there? It's absolutely ridiculous. And the reason why they've settled down the bottom of the orange is because there's no oxygen, there's no air bubbles in there to move that water around. That's dispersed from them around the tank. Now when you're trying to bring these guys, normally now you guys will be feeding these straight away to your fish. And but if you want to bring them on and get them to come on a little bit further, what you need to do is set up another little tank. And you can use a little 2.5 gallon tank like I use, a little extra home tank, something like that, nice and cheap one, or even some big Tupperware dish or one of those square boxes, plastic boxes that you can put some water in. Mix up the same water, 30 to 35 parts of brilliant, okay, in there, or 1 tablespoon of salt per litre of water to get it to the level that you want. You can have about 4 inches, 5 inches, whatever you like in there. Now you can, and I've had my best job when I've added this much milk to the tank. What that basically does, obviously, is keep the nice and fresh. What you're going to do then is a heat source, okay? Now you can put a heater in there, get that set for around 22 degrees, that's what I put normally in for, 22 to 23 degrees Celsius. Let that water get up to temperature first, okay? Now this is the part where you've got to be careful. Get your breathing tank ready first, with the heater in, and with your sponge filter in, okay? I'll show you one of those now.
You are using apple cider vinegar the wrong way. If your goal is to lose belly fat, you need to use it the right way. Guys, I discovered a way to turn apple cider vinegar into something even more powerful than those Mondaro heads. Seriously, when you take it the right way, it shrinks your belly, reduces inflammation, boosts your metabolism, curbs hunger, and even improves your immunity. Let me show you how simple it is. Apple cider vinegar, when used the right way, is the only food in the world capable of activating your body and making it work tirelessly 24 hours a day, burning body fat. That's because it helps control hunger, improves digestion, speeds up metabolism, stabilizes insulin levels, and even reduces the annoying bloating. And do you know what that means? It means you'll start to see your shorts getting looser, your belly shrinking, and the pounds literally melting away. All of this without having to follow restricted diets, go hungry, or spend hours sweating in the gym. Hi, I'm Marta Miller, specialist in endocrinology and women's metabolism. Over the last 15 years, I, along with my sister, Dr. Diane Miller, have helped more than 48,000 women lose weight naturally, healthily, and definitively using a powerful homemade recipe known as the Brazilian Manjaro. Apple cider vinegar is undoubtedly the best.
Right, there's the little tank that I use, guys. Just a little 2.5 gallon tank on the floor. Got a little light above it just to give it some light throughout the day. Little heater in there set to 23 degrees. I just took the sponge filter out a minute. I was giving it a clean before, and I've removed most of the dog trunks in there because I've got them in the workshop to show you, okay? In a minute. So that's the sort of tank that I put them in. I'll fill it with water. Get that salinity right, like I said. And you're all away. Right, let's go and check the other. So there you go. So make sure you've got those set up first, okay? This is only if you want to bring them onto the adult stage, okay? And I always find you can bring them on without a filter, but I find it's a lot better and your water stays better because of the foods that we're going to be adding, and I'll tell you about it, okay? But you can see there now, you've got the newly hatched, which is one of the best foods you're going to get, okay, to feed to your baby fish. I've got the little baby cories down below there. I'll just show you those guys. Now if you look down there, you can see all those little tiny orange bellies, and they are all full of freshly hatched brine shrimp. They're all over the place. If you look through that flip of magnifier there, that's something to kid. You want to pick yourself up one of those if you can. But there's loads of them. There's no end of them behind there, and they're all nice and full up. Anyway, from there, okay, I'll move you over now to the other side. Now these are a few more days old, okay, so they can put into another little pot of mine. Now you can see there, they're starting to grow. They're starting to get a little bit more of that shape that you're familiar with. And it won't be long before they're to the adult size, okay. Now I've been bringing them on. Now what I feed them, now this is important, okay, when you're bringing these guys on. When you've got them now, imagine now this is my tank in my workshop. And what I feed them is spirulina powder. Okay, I use that one. For functional food, very, very finely ground, very high in protein. And what I do is I get these little pots, these little samples, so they get urine samples for me. And I just put a very, very small pinch in a bit of salty water, and I just shake it up like that, okay? And then what I do is I pour a little tiny bit in, and I just cloud that water in the main tank until it goes a little bit cloud. There's still some in there, you can see. They're being attracted to the light. And now they are going to feed quite happily on that. Now, another thing that's important as well is in the food, okay, to be kept in suspension. And that means if you get blown around, and make sure it's moving and it's coming up. And that's why the little round jars are absolutely fantastic. Because if you've got an air bubble with a filter coming up the side here, it rolls. You can use an airline, just an airline, you can move it if you want to do it on a smaller scale. This is really the bigger tank for if you want to be bringing them on regularly to feed better and other fish as well, okay? So, this little jars, little tiny jars, you can actually pick them up very cheaply, using on weddings and things, to put flowers in on tables. They're only a couple of quid, but they make great little reactors for bringing them up to there. Well, actually, put your airline in one side, and it's everything slowly, just literally a bubble a second, like that. That comes in lovely. So you can see the adults there, okay? They're the ones I've been bringing on. And that is, you see the some babies in amongst them as well. They all came out of the tank, and believe it or not, they let off some of the babies as well. So you can probably see some baby ones skipping around in there which they've actually made. We'll get into that section in a minute, but first of all, I want to get on about side of things first, okay? Right, okay, guys, spirulina powder is fantastic, okay, for bringing these guys on, but don't put too much in, okay? Keep it little small amounts, I mean, literally, tiny little sprinkling that will disperse through the water, and they'll find it, and they're not fussy eating triangulants, okay? They're quite courageous little eaters, and that's why they grow so fast. Egg yolks is another good one, okay? Now you can boil an egg, make a little bit of the yolk, and knead a little bit, and then get some salty water, and literally just break up a tiny, tiny little piece. Rub it between your fingers in the water, and that'll break that up tiny little particles, okay? And then you can add that to the water as well with a dirty base, you'll just pour it in. And they'll greedily accept that, okay? Wheat flour, soybean flour, there it is. And yeast as well, baker's yeast, put some baker's yeast in there, put it in, a little grain, and they will break down in the water, and that airline then going around will circulate that, and they'll find the water column and they'll eat it. But in 2 weeks, guys, you'll be able to, they'll be big enough to net out with a fine mesh net and feed to your fish, okay? But another little secret is, which I've found over the years, is when you get them on that size, but when they're still freshly hatched, like that, now there is absolutely tens of thousands in there, okay? Don't try and put too many into that next stage up. Feed the majority, keep the smaller amounts. When you put them in the tank, you're going to be regularly bringing them on. I would use a turkey baster like that. I would probably sort up maybe that many from that pot there, okay? And add them to my tanks that I showed you, 2.5 gallons, because there is probably hundreds and hundreds of them just in that little section there, okay? What will happen is, put too many in there, they won't have enough to swim in their own belt, and you'll just have a crash, and you'll lose them every single time. So make sure you use small amounts, because there's not that many in there, but they've all got room to move. And they're all happy little zipping around, okay? That's one of the things I will tell you. Don't put too many in the pot at any one time. Because when you look at it, when they're this size, okay, they'll run for that light bulb. For my torch. When they get to that size, if you had maybe 200 in there, so that's going to be a lot. You're only probably looking at 40, maybe 50 in there. And that much product you're swimming around. That'll give you an idea. And you can see the baby ones in there as well, which is growing up. Now, I haven't added those ones in there. Those are the ones that they've had in there. Now, if you look, you may be lucky, one will swim past, and you'll see right down the bottom by their tail, they'll be carrying two little tiny sacks of eggs. There goes one there. My big finger in the water. Pardon me. Look, and you might see a couple there with eggs. And what they'll do is, brine shrimps can release them into the water to hatch, okay? Or they can hold on to them as well. And they will actually hatch them like our shrimps do. Okay, they'll hold them until they hatch, and they'll release them into the water, which is what you can see there, okay? And then, obviously, you're adding your spirulina powder, your egg yolk, soybean, flour, wheat flour, small amounts. Filters looking after it, and they're going to keep growing for you, okay? So there's your 3 sort of stages there, okay? Obviously there's stages in between of them just getting bigger and bigger and bigger until they get to there. But these are the ones that I've been bringing on. Those are the ones that were literally all in the tank. So I sieved those guys out, put them in there, and all those guys that are in there, basically babies, the ones that were in there, okay? They've grown up. As soon as they grow up from that size, then they repopulate. In the summertime, you can put them outside in the sun. They love it out there in the sun, spirulina powder, but obviously cover it over. If you don't want rainwater to get in there and dilute that salinity, okay, that salty in the water. And that obviously goes to the house as well, okay? Cover it over the top in a small hole, and that'll keep that evaporation away. Because obviously as water evaporates, don't forget guys, it leaves the salt behind. And what happens then? That water then is too salty for them to kill them. A lot of people fail that way as well. They'll have these big open punches, not realising they just keep adding, and it's evaporating. And before you know it, you're going to crash and you think, oh, no, why are all my ships gone? Where are they gone? They're all dead. They're all dead on the bottom in the bucket or in the tank. And it's when you check the salinity of your water, something in your water, you'll find that it's crashed right up, and that's what kills them, okay? And you've got to keep it stable. Stable in water. Now there's what it is. Right up to there, see? And she'll hold on to them and release them into the water. And there'll be tiny little guys like you see hopping around there. So that's the way you bring them up. If you're going to feed them to your fish, some people just like bringing them up with their kids. They're fantastic to bring up with kids. They're fascinating being the kids watching them growing up in little tanks. They call them sea monkeys, they call them all sorts. They get fry off as well, which are a little bit different. But they're also good fun as well to bring up with kids. And it'll give them a little learning curve on making up the salt solutions and different things and feeding them. Anyway, I hope you got a little video on how to bring, going back now down through the stages from those to those. All the way down to those. And I can see the baby Corey looking at me now. And my sepia testers got and these diamond testers as well. Looking at me for some of these doing. Anyway guys, hope you like that little video. Try it yourself, it's not as difficult as it seems. It may take you a couple of goes. Any trouble, give me a shout and I'll help you out the best way I can, okay? As always, I'm Mark, love you loads, take care, and I'll see you for another project very shortly. Bye for now.
Purina Puppy Chow and Kitty Chow. Highly digestible with sensitive stomachs. DHA to help support healthy brain and vision. Nourish them out.
With the new Diamond Beat texture, Charmin Ultra Strong gets better so you can use less.
What is the best possible hatch we can get in crazy hard? I don't know if that's because I've never tested it that much. You know, like, oh, that was good. You know, out of all those eggs, there's some specs. You see those eggs still coming down, they're still floating on top, which is real nice. Lots of brine. I mean, quite a bit of brine going on. Alright, so today we're going to talk about hatching brine shrimp. This is something I've been doing for 10 plus years. You know, Dean's been doing it for 40 years. I only got 10 years. So I've learned a thing or two. And when you're working with newer products and you're testing out eggs and you learn a lot about what works for your water. And a lot of this, we're talking about setup and how to harvest and all of that. But a lot of this is like cooking or baking. You can have the recipes, but there's still that element that you gotta know when to flip it, you gotta know when to take it out of the oven, and that's kind of what brine shrimp is. A lot of different water, a little bit different, but these can be the best practices. So I highly recommend using this hatchery. We saw it on the website. We've also got the San Francisco Bay. We've got older videos to show that. This just gets a better hatch due to the cone shape and crazy hard. It's not going to break on you. It's not going to fall over, that kind of stuff. So the initial thing to put it together, all right? Now there's lots of little tips, like you can paint this on an aquarium. There's a lot of stuff we'll cover on the videos, but today we just want to focus on a good hatch. When you put this together, you need a rigid piece of tubing that it comes with, and a piece of aquarium co-op airline tubing. If it's any other brand, it doesn't taste as good. So it's got to be aquarium co-op rated airline tubing. And you just put a little connector piece on there so that you have this flexibility. This is important. If you put the piece of glue that stayed on there, it's very rigid. It won't go where you need it to. So when you put this in, it needs to set right at the bottom of this. Now, you see a little bit of cloudiness in here. That's because I didn't wash it down too much because I didn't rinse it and I had to rinse it all the time. It doesn't matter. That's why it's just being a little bit cloudy. If I clean it well, it works out. But when the salt settles down here and we start bubbling, you want to mix all the salt into the water for you, keep all the eggs suspended. That's how that works. Then, you have something like this when it's actually running. So we're going to talk about how I set this up. This, I got a light on it. I've got the bubbling going on, and it connects to a little USB air pump. I've got a little extra long one. I'll show you why. We're going to set up another batch right now. So first things first, you fill it with water. You don't use a chlorinator. You just use tap water. The chlorine actually helps break down the eggs. You fill it to about there-ish. You go a little bit higher, a little bit lower. If you go this wide, you're going to get eggs up on the lid. That's just more pink. I don't like it. So, put the water up. Water here while I'm trying to fill it. Now, we built a special hanger here, and there's a different video you're going to see where we built a hanger for one that's now easy and super easy. And not the one that's going to do this is actually from our forum. Someone posted it, and I thought it was genius. I'm going to go one. But I hatch a lot of brine shrimp with the same setup ready to store. And so now, to get this ready, we've got the water. It's kind of room temp. This being in my fish room is always at 78 degrees coming out of this faucet. But the temperature you want to hatch at is somewhere between 74 and 82, anywhere in there roughly. A lot of people might use a heater, heat the whole space here, or maybe it's in your house if it's warm enough. Or my tip, how we used to, back in my day, before we all had fish rooms we heated, what we actually did is use a light source. So this is an LED, it doesn't get very hot at all. We used to use actual light bulbs. And we have an old incandescent light bulb, and it's 100 watts. Guess what? That's like a 100-watt heater. You just put it near the eggs, and the heat will transfer into it. Now, this light is going to be very important when we go to harvest, and there's some, I would say, mostly wise tales that the light actually helps it hatch. I don't know if it actually does. I've never tested it that much, but I do need it to harvest every time, and I need it to heat for many years. So that's why I look for this. So we're going to leave that back down there like that. We'll get to that point there. We're still setting up here, so we've got our room temp water. Now, you're going to need some salt. You can use a wide variety of salt, almost any salt, but I'm going to talk about some. So, something like aquarium salt, just normal salt with no additives, that'll give you the salt you need. Here, now we're getting to that recipe. My water is not very hard, there's no minerals in it, and it's very low pH. That kind of keeps away the shells, and they're good for these brine shrimp, right? So, I have to buffer that up. I end up using salt for saltwater aquarium. This salt has calcium, magnesium, lots of other trace elements that buffers the pH is going to go higher. No matter what salt you're using, you're going to use 1 tablespoon per 1 liter. Now, this brine shrimp hatch we're talking about is 2 liters. So, 2 tablespoons. Now, a trick that I've got, give yourself a coffee spoon. So when you put coffee, I don't drink coffee, but I had to try to figure this out. A coffee spoon is put grounds in, and you're going to make coffee. It's always a tablespoon. So go find yourself a plastic one. You get a stainless steel one, and it's not too awesome like I did on Amazon. It'll rust with all the salt. So you end up with little bits of rust in there. It doesn't hurt anything though. So don't worry about it. But get yourself a plastic one so you don't have choice problems. Now, all I have to do is fill this up with water. Because it's 2 tablespoons, it's 1 scoop, right? So I grab a scoop, and you can be pretty liberal or not. You can go with, you know, like, oh, that's a scoop, or that's a scoop. Either way, you're going to get the hatch. Brine shrimp are crazy party. They go with really high salinity, pretty low salinity, really hot temperatures, not that hot temperatures. They're forgiving. So, but what you do want a bit of consistency. So that way, you know, if I go, okay, this time it took me 24 hours to get a good hatch. You don't want to get 36 one time and 18 another. You want it to be like, oh, every day I'm getting my good hatch. And so 24 hours is roughly what I shoot for. If it's really hot in 15, maybe it's only 18. Maybe it's 36 if it's really cold. So that's why you want that 74 to 82 temperature, somewhere where you can basically put those eggs in today, and tomorrow you'll be able to harvest. Keeping eggs preserved, I use this little mini fridge I got on Amazon. It's kind of awesome and kind of a total waste of time, too. So it's got bragging rights, like I've got a brine shrimp fridge, but other than that, so originally we were testing the eggs in here, and I hid them in an extreme thing, and then now here's our eggs the way they come. What you're trying to do is keep them out of moisture, keep them out of oxygen, and keep them out of heat. Because that's what we do here. We put oxygen, water, and heat, and they hatch. So we gotta not have those. If that went on in here, they would hatch. If I put salt water in here and bubbled it, they would hatch. That'd be bad for us. So we open this up, and now you're gonna hatch some amount. I hatch a lot. So sometimes I run more than one of these at a time. Like Dean always running 2 at the store. We'll run 2 or 3. Here I run 2-ish, 1, 2, depending on how many fry I've got going. So, you'll probably become like us, and you're going to start collecting scoops. Like this one's used for meds, but it's like, oh, look at that little baby scoop. Or you go and do what my wife hates, and you go steal your measuring spoon. I had a whole tablespoon, which is a lot of it. Most people are going to do a teaspoon, maybe a half a teaspoon, maybe only have 2 grams. They're going to do like a 20 teaspoon. I have to hatch a lot because I got a lot of fish. And so all you do is you grab a scoop and you dump it in. So now my eggs are in there. I close this back up. Now, you're going to ask, can you let that sit on your counter? What if I don't want to put it in the fridge? You can. But if this takes you, let's say this pack might take me 2 or 3 weeks to use up. If it takes you 2 or 3 months or 2 or 3 years, over time, because we're opening the bag, taking some out, putting it in, moisture from your fish room is going to get in there, and the hatch rate's going to go down slightly. So we officially label these at 90% eggs, next to hatching eggs. But you're actually 95%. Maybe after 2 years, you're like, oh, 75%. We're doing testing to see if we can measure how far they go down. But if you're worried about it, keep it in the fridge. You can also keep it in a can, which I don't have a can off right now, so I'm bad. Let me go grab the can and see if they know what we're talking about. And here, we have conveniently placed eggs that I went and found to rid my studio. But this is how you actually buy the eggs once. They come in a metal container with like quadruple seals. So you get this first one, you get the second one, it's like a paint can. Then you get the sealed up eggs inside of it. There's actually another seal here that you would normally rip off, but I already ripped this one off to test it. So you get all of that. You can spend so you can pour the eggs, because it's kind of a pain in the butt to get the eggs out of this. Every time I've had my hand be wet sometimes, and that's not good. So you're meant to pour the eggs in here, and then you can get a nice sneaky scoop out of there and keep filling. But now you know what you're looking for on the website. And recycle these are don't. That's why we needed metal, so you recycle really easy. And you can use for fish food and stuff too. You can definitely put fish food in there and feed it out. I'll show people how I end up doing it. But then when you're done, you throw them in the fridge or freezer. Alright, back to hatching. So we've got no air going. We're going to do one of two things here. We're going to start harvesting these ones that are ready to go. So I need to take the air out of it. So being that I have a dual system, what I do is I grab this out. And you can see we've got a lot of condensation, maybe a little bit of hatched eggs on the top. And you have some on the downspout here. I just give it a quick rinse. We don't want to foul the new hatch that we're doing. Alright. So quick little rinse. And then, being that I'm connected to my USB air pump with the extra long line, I just plug it right in the next one. And what you're going to see is, while we're waiting for this to settle down, this is going to get going, and then all the salt's going to dissolve. You can see it piled up on the bottom there, and eggs are going to clump together, but they will stop doing that fairly soon. Now, for the sake of this video, I'm going to remove this light, because this is going to make it so they don't converge. We need a light source so that the brine shrimp that are alive are attracted to it. Right now, we're kind of illuminating this whole thing, so they're not going to get as concentrated as they want. So I move this, and I put this right down here, and this is just a bendy LED light that I got off of Amazon. At some point in the future, if you're watching this and it's been a year or more or 6 months or more, we probably sell a light now. Because I've been testing a bunch of different lights, and I kind of like this one. It's got some different options that we don't need. It doesn't use a lot of electricity, but I want to make sure that it does what we want it to do. So now what you want to do is don't forget about your hatch.
At Merrick, food has been our love language for over 30 years. It's why we use real, wholesome ingredients to craft home-style recipes pets love.
It's so easy, because it's going to take like 5 or more minutes to settle out. Now, it's really easy to be like, let me go see what's going on in the Accordion Co-op forum or the YouTube channel. Pretty soon it's been 2 hours, and all your brine shrimp have died. They ran off. So you kind of just got to, what I do, I typically go and pre-feed all the big fish, all that kind of stuff. Anything that's going to scrape a little algae so that you're kind of in eye shot of this. Now, what we're looking for here, we want all the brine shrimp, or a majority of it, to come to the bottom, and all the hatched eggs. So they hatched out, and the shells are floating on the top. This is the difference between ours and other companies' eggs, basically. You see right here? So you see all those eggs up top. Those have hatched out, or some of the unhatched. You see how it's fairly light, and then towards the bottom, much more dense orange. That's because of being drawn to light down here. Now, with lesser quality eggs, cheaper brands, less hatch rate, that kind of stuff, usually what you're going to get is down at the bottom, you're going to get a slurry of live brine shrimp and eggs that didn't hatch. We have some, but it is very few. Look, you're going to see some specks. You'll see them. You know, out of all those eggs, there's some specks. Now, I hatched a whole tablespoon of brine shrimp, so they really can't get all the way to the bottom, but if you only had 1/8 teaspoon, they'd all be right down here for you to harvest. We're now going to harvest, and I'm going to show you that. So I ended up using all of this water because so many brine shrimp. I will say you can technically use as much as 2 tablespoons of eggs in there. Now, that is an insane amount of brine shrimp, and you have to be really, really dialed in, because every time they hatch out, they go to the bathroom, they're fouling that water. So what happens is, if I put 2 tablespoons of eggs in there, and now it's tomorrow, at about 20 hours, I should be harvesting. At 24, that's the limit. At 30, they'll all suffocated and die because the waste got too much. So you're riding a fine line. It's much easier if you need that many eggs to just run 2 brine shrimp hatches. Then you can go 24, 30, 36 hours. It doesn't really matter. You're under the, under the gun, so to speak. So then I just grab a clear container. I happen to use these like 1-gallon jugs. You can use sometimes I use an easy fry bottle type of thing, so I can squirt it to tanks. Doesn't matter what you use. I just like to be able to see into it. So I've got it set up by my sink. All I have to do is set it up, and this bottom part, the valve, this is where you harvest the brine shrimp. So now we go, let me open this up. Camera. There we go. Now we have liquid gold just pouring out. And that's going to take probably 2 or 3 minutes to get all of the water out of that. I can actually slide it up down here now. So again, don't walk away too far, because I've done that. You want to be feeding fish right now and doing things, because if you drain all these eggs that hatched out, you're going to do this whole process again, and it's going to be a real pain in the butt, and you're going to be sad. So stay within earshot and listen. It'll slow down as it gets towards the end. Lots and lots of brine. You see very few eggs in there. No hatch is ever going to be free of eggs, but this is less than 1% with the unhatched eggs in what I'm going to feed. Where I've had some really kind of, for lack of a better term, eBay eggs or something like that. It's kind of no-name eggs where maybe 20% or more is just unhatched eggs, and that. What happens is that technically could bind up a little baby fish or something, and you might get some more deaths. I actually haven't really seen it be a problem. Dean said he's noticed it a lot with things like rams and other very, very tiny fry. I don't deal in that often, so for guppies and all that, I haven't noticed a whole big of a problem, but it is lame to know that 20% of your eggs aren't hatching, so already it's like costing 20% more. You've got 20% more water fouling and all of that, so we focused on what is the best possible hatch we can get. Let's make it as easy as possible for every hobbyist and take out the guesswork. And it's really, we want to make it simple. So if you get the 2 tablespoon scoop, it's 1 tablespoon or 1 scoop of salt, 1 scoop of eggs, and the 1 filled up container of water. So it's 1, 1, and 1 gives you a great hatch. So that's, if you can remember, I do 1 scoop of this, I do 1 scoop of this. It was filled with water. I come back tomorrow in 1 day, and it worked. So now we're going to wait for that to, you can see, you get a little bit better picture now of all the live brine shrimp kind of buzzing around in there. That's what the fish are going to go nuts for now that it's not as dense. You can see those eggs still coming down. They're still floating on top, which is real nice. So this is not hatched and hatched. It would be not hatched and hatched technically, but usually, yeah, there's not a huge difference, but a lot of times low quality eggs will sing. And yes, so technically what you could do, you could remove all the brine shrimp and strain with a brine shrimp strainer, which I don't do, but I'll show you that process. And then you could make new salt water and use these eggs again, and you might get like 5% more to hatch, but you're doing 100% more work for 5% more brine shrimp. Basically everyone just goes, I would just set up new and put another stupid brine shrimp in. That's what you do. And so it's much better to do it that way than to have eggs that are like, oh, I have more hatching. That's a real pain. So we got to keep an eye. We're getting close. We're getting close to getting way too many eggs coming down through there. So I start slowing it down at this point because it's real sad times when you get. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just shut it off here, and I'll even waste that little bit of brine. You can see from the water, there aren't even that many left in that water because they're not as condensed. They're all down here. They were pulled to the bottom with the light. Then we harvested them. So now I've got this container of brine shrimp. Here it is. We'll put it in some better light. I'll show you the next trick. Yes, it's the exact same thing. So what you saw me set up is exactly what we just harvested here. So the next trick, I recommend this turkey baster. Now this turkey baster is very important. It is a no-drip turkey baster. Because I'm going to tell you right now, your family is going to hate you when you drip brine shrimp on the carpet, on the floor, and what is that smell? That's rotting brine shrimp. So instead, use a no-drip one, and I just grab a big old container of it, or not container, but siphon full of it. You notice how stop dripping. Wow. There we go. So the stuff on the outside was good, but when you start going to feed multiple tanks, what I do is I just kind of squirt. So now you're going to want to see that inner clearing line. You don't see what the brine are doing, and that's the important part. So we'll grab some more. So I just walk around like this with my brine shrimp, and I'll put it in here with these big fish. A lot of people go, well, big fish don't eat it. Well, I got to do this for you. All fish love brine shrimp. So I just put a whole squirt in there. When I back up, if they get used to maybe having a camera in their face, they're going to come. There you go. Oh, well, I don't mind if I do. I'll leave that. So the best part is, this is how you really spawn fish, because sometimes you'll have fry you don't know about, and they're now going to raise up. You weren't, this isn't a big meal for them, but this is a sign that baby food is around. Maybe it's time to have some babies. And so a lot of times I'll do this, I'll trigger them spawn, and it's like these yellow labs, little kids, if you look in the back corner, they got a kid, they're ready. Their mouth food. Yeah, so I try to make it real quick and easy, and we just go through all the things. See it there. Show you here with these live bears and this full. You don't have to put a whole squirt in. You can go, oh, there's not that many things there. That's all they're getting. Everyone loves it. Where you'll really see you go down to babies and like Romeo Petra. And I really will spoil some fish. Like when these come in and they just got their quarantine, they're starving, all literally just pour it in. There's a lot of brine shrimp. Now, what you just watched was me pouring all the salt water in. And you're going, wait, that's fresh water. This also has a bunch of ammonia. And I would say, yes, both of those. Luckily for me, I use live plants. So live plants are going to consume anything going into the fish here. And they're going to run all of that calcium and magnesium all together all extrinsic. So, that's what I do. Now, if you wanted to harvest, let's say you say, oh, I want to do these method and I don't want that to go in my tanks. Then what you have to do is grab one of these. So we don't sell these things yet because I'm not fully on board. That's why I want to make my own. I want to make it good. This one's not perfect. If you want this one, you can find them online. Not my favorite yet. What you do is you would clean it. So you can do all do it. Now move this over a little bit. You would drain this straight into here, so it'll let the salt water clean through the brine. See how the brine is going? Now you're going to have this, brine without the salt. Now let's pretend I have our salt that for the sake of time. Then what you do is drink it real quick. So let's get all the salt. Freak out about the salt. Got more here, obviously. Alright. So now you've got this. You would then pour it back into that. And fuck it out of you. Something like that. But now we'll just get the other rubbing those petras and you'll see what it's like without the salt going in. that's how you would harvest it without getting the salt in there. I personally find the salt from marine salt, which is better. I also put the salt in when I was doing, even when I did normal aquarium salt. I don't really care if it's like water cases, the aquarium all of that. I never got into a problem. Typically when I'm raising babies, they need a lot of water anyway. So then we'll finish this whole process here. So now you fed out all your brine shrimp, and you're ready to set up for the next day. You saw how we set it up originally. Now we just have to rinse it. Pull it out. You got a little, you just tiniest bit of eggs down there, but, half the brine, but now you have a slurry. Don't let it sit. You'll come back tomorrow and you wonder what seems to replace dye in that picture. It's this. It's still terrible. Let's give it a quick rinse. Dump it out. This is why I love this thing. The lesser kits are a pain to clean. You gotta get in there, you're cutting a little bit, maybe you're gonna cut off pop bottle or some other apparatus, and you just get in there real quick. Don't forget to clean your nozzle. Right, turn it open a little bit. Make sure all the brine shrimp out, not trapped. Now, if you want to be proactive, you can also you can set up what the salt dissolves the next day on it. So you can let this sit. You can go, hey, I'm going to get ready for tomorrow. Keep the salt ready. Don't put the eggs in there. Just put the salt. And you would let it bubble. I only have one set up because I use it on the project. But then you can set up for tomorrow. You're good to go. Harvest this one. You switch back. Harvest the other one. Harvest. After you fish, lots of spawning, and you're good to go. Now, have any problems, reach out on the forum or something like that, change it a little bit, maybe you have to make it hard water, maybe you should use rain salt, or egg salt, maybe you should have more eggs, less eggs, maybe the temperature's going on, it's a recipe. So it might a little bit more interesting, more complicated, you gotta dial it in your taste. Now, I have to taste it with meat, and it tastes terrible. Run the package with our eggs, makes it easier, careless, decent recipe. Good to go. Easy.
Dry eyes still feel pretty rough or tired? With MyBo, eyes can feel MyBo is the only prescription dry eye drop that forms a protective layer for the #1 cause of dry eye, too much tear evaporation. For relief, that's remove contact lenses before using MyBo. Wait at least 30 minutes before putting them back in. Eye redness and blurred vision may occur. Ask your eye doctor about prescription MyBo.
From the makers of the Never Let Go Sport Serum, introducing Super Brine. Okay.
Hi, camera. The camera over there. Hey. Look at that liquid gold coming out. Do you remember why I raised this? There's all this pee and brine shrimp food in there, and I don't want to feed that thing. That's the best part. It tastes good. You still eat that. Plants, well, that's what plants do. Like, oh, you know why that's there? You're afraid of it? There's like over 200 gold grams in here. They're large, I mean, for other food. But I like to give them baby brine shrimp too. They just go crazy for it. And then, of course, out of my custom feeder, that's right, extreme nano pellets. We come back here in about 10 minutes, all of that is gone. How old are you that? These are the secret things your wife can't know about. Yeah. I think she's starting to control me though. It's laundry room. I don't think I've ever seen your laundry room really. So I get to go in here now. The first thing I do is easy since I keep my kids covered. Because I know, how many times a day do you eat and how long does it take to be involved with it?
Like this eating at night takes probably a half hour. Half hour in the morning. In the daytime, it's usually some of the fried food that I get. That's usually just a couple minutes.
Not food and kids, okay.
What would be? Oh, so up behind me, we're gonna start there. Now, this is actually just a hatching jar, but as you can see, there's no room in the fry rack, so they got to get a little bit. They're free swimming now.
And what are the, what's the next?
I think they're ankle.
Right. You wait till it gets bigger than your room?
Yeah, we're definitely gonna get down there. And then we're gonna go. We'll start with the small one.
There's like rams?
Rams, angels, Anthony's favorite psychos, mustard, something called it.
I don't know.
Those are the 20 angels and these are the 20 angels. And you can see them just like 20 angels. When are you ready to go?
It's like a flector right there.
Yeah, those are the L2 or more large spots.
Okay, like the snowball.
Yeah.
Snowball.
For these guys, I'm going to first take it off so that I'm not flushing right
Yeah,
there. This has a bomb. There's some walnut mustard. That's how you say it. I don't really know.
So I know people always question this, but I do it too. There's going to be my baby Brine, 2 baby flectors, right? 2 baby flectors eat anything.
Now, the thing is, they will say there's also beef like this. There's on this green beans there. I will also put in some ceramicron and for the stick-on job.
Oh, yeah, like the ceramic film.
Yeah. For vegan and there's also what is this is going to be made with these pencil fish about this.
Those are the chunkiest pencil fish I've ever seen.
Those are we caught them for
I know. I've just seen well,
yeah. This next week is a microwave thing. I'm getting ready to put pears and fried grams.
all right.
So yeah. Do you think he's just going to think fine?
I don't, because I know every they love it. I mean, every time Jimmy comes over, I make Jimmy chicken. I'm not they almost eat it right out of the that is fun.
Right? And how did that fit?
My guess is flexibly want to read it or something.
And I don't know how that got in there. Let's go here.
And how much Brine do you hash out for eating?
This would be a table.
Okay.
Now I could pour, obviously, but it's insane, huh?
Yeah.
That's obviously the 3 tanks like that get there is 1,500.
If there's anyone else, I would be like, yeah, right. But I know you count them, and I have to believe you. Because I also know that you bring us a lot of fish, then I can normally still have way too many.
Right. Story of my life.
This is the opposite, though, because when you're not locked down from COVID, right? You're out too much to go big fish.
Now the midnight lambs over here, they're going to eat some of this stuff too. They got plenty tonight. So that was pretty. We get them some other things too. But obviously they like it, huh?
Yep.
Would you say?
Oh, Dean, will you ship me some of those?
I don't really ship fish. Where you travel out here, you can come to some sort of break. A lot.
I just another question. Wow, you spawned turbines?
Yeah. Actually,
I find it funny I'm more intrigued by that.
those happen the same day the dams get there.
Nice.
So that's why we put them together.
It makes me 10 billion turbines already.
I know. So it was just crazy. Flying for 12 cents.
Yeah.
That's good. And where did my ladder go?
Nothing like big brine shrimp.
Oh, yeah. Gotta keep my tongue.
And the systems, now, I've always kept my systems big brine. And other food options also, but I feel like when you keep that baby brine, they know there's going to be food for the fry.
Ever since you told me that, probably 6-7 years ago, I adopted that rule, and I found that it's always helped, like, prevent this, all kinds of I really believe that's a true observation that it's pretty close to what might be true in nature. Like, obviously doing scientific testing, but, you know, like, panned out to me.
So fry in that season when the wet season, a lot of food in the water, the fish knows the food. Let's make these little rice sticks that we've got to do. And while we're doing that, we'll take a look. See if there's any bacon in the pot.
Alright. I'll be surprised, it's gonna be pretty warm up there.
Right, this is actually also the leopard frog taco thing.
Oh, yeah.
So, in the center one, I had one spawning, but I was not successful in keeping the frog. Happens to all of us, you know, that sometimes the frog won't work.
Actually, that never happened.
Never happens.
Always been successful, yeah.
That's a joke.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So there's some eggs in there, right? Right here. Here's a little bit of germ talk.
Do you think we could ship rice things like this?
Yes, I think you could ship them easier than the fish. Nice. So I'm counting maybe a dozen eggs.
How long is that hot will they soak in here for?
2 days. Oh, here's some more. There's a bunch of eggs. There's a whole bunch of eggs. Okay, maybe a dozen eggs.
I'm gonna put it in the internet. The internet's gonna say, are the things going out?
Yes. No. They're fine. You can even pick them up. And then we can freeze-stick it. Right there.
There you go.
So I'm just looking at the females if they're not carrying any eggs. Typically, they'll carry some more constantly by about 2 days.
I didn't know if they called the same day. I just see them and I go, oh, what are they?
I got the kids, they actually have little threads that eggs do. And so the females swim into the mom and the eggs rub off. Oh look, all of the baby brines we've actually gone.
That's true.
It's all sucked up into that mat film.
No, it's kidding. Actually,
So since the brine shrimp is gone, I usually supplement them with some extreme nanos. And out of my custom-made shaker bottles, boom.
look how dirty your picture is.
Why did I do that?
Look at being cracked under pressure on camera.
Really? This will probably be gone in just a couple minutes also. Now, this tank needs a little bit more because there's a bunch of elderly kind of buttons in the wood. And this tank needs a little bit more because there's a bunch of elderly trees and also two of the ones buttons in here. And I want that to be down there where they're used. This tank needs what these are both buttons.
Okay.
So you probably won't be able to see that there are some Brine that big. That's 2 of 1. This is I call it block. It's a short. We got to give that some food. So we can use some of these green plates. Try with green plates.
Yeah.
By the way, let's talk about this in a second. Once my hands are done. Now I want this to sink, so I just put it in the water. And make sure they sink. And these will be gone in a moment. Wow, those things are cold. Yeah, I got that. So, this street, you're listening to me? And my first name is actually Andrew also, but I don't use
You
that.
let the secret out. That was the one thing I had that I knew your real name.
So, Mr. Extreme Andy, I get sometimes because people come over and film Why is he hiding all the labels of his food? What's the new security information delivered back later? He really does. It's because when I go to grab this food off the shelf, I grab the things to grab it. So Mr. Extreme, see this label here? Just the Extreme Flying Israeli Post. I put that little square right here on this side. On this side, make another label and put all this small print with no degree anyway, but you have to have on it. Why is that blue because it's bigger? It might be. And also you want to round the corners there. You can just do look at this. It's not easier. And then when it's on my shelf, people will be able to see that I've got extreme, and what happened here? Why don't you have this jar just for extreme? That's going to be according to that happens, right? Oh, these guys will know stuff too. I'm pretty sure, like, I had for something probably past this weed ball. Someone on the internet that could make you right now, like, actually, well, there probably was. I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, let's give these guys some of this. Are those the adult group of Brine? No, they're not the rock. Okay, but they're bigger. And these are some rams that are carrying up. But these aren't even the biggest fish. Do you spawn the rams with the cords in there? No, this is okay. This is a throw out thing where I selected these rams and selected the breeding. So, I thought it was, but it is crazy. Since I'm up here, right? What could these possibly be? You've never put a fish before, too. No, let's try bug bites. Oh, by the way, just so you guys know, these are 333 bucks. Really nice. Hopefully. I never make these messes with no one here. There you go. I just think like, we don't come to show the 130 aquarium because you said, oh yeah. Yeah. You guys always say, oh, look, your tanks are so cool. If you had that many fish in the tank, there'd be nothing left for them to make a mess of. But look, I got the tank ready just for you guys. If you look at this tank, the bottom, I can take it inside the next. This tank, the bottom, is nice and clean. Inside the next. This tank is, I can't swear on camera, so it's exact. It's exact. Like the fish love. Now, the difference is, the previous two tanks each have one small little button. It's funny because they're particularly cooking on, but doesn't do the same job. There's two opposed to they don't use the help. They don't use the help. Yeah. And the other thing is, it might not necessarily be eating it completely off, but they might be moving it to where it's small enough to where the filter is here. You never forget your first story, don't you? What is that? So I did have a dirty tank. Okay, let's get rid of the rest of the black first. At what point do you just take a shot of it yourself? Done that. Totally by accident, but it ain't good. It's not like the Tennessee or anything like that. This is gonna go out there. Guppies, some other stuff. Do you want to show all this stuff? Well, we're gonna see this. All right. Because it's projects, all kinds of stuff out here that you guys haven't seen yet. Look how much stuff we're going to build. Oh, we call this and we're not using yet. And we can feed those little red things. Little red things. Oh, yeah. So, down here, there's a few guppies. There's some organic guppies. Yep, and it's beta. But it's down to the hot. I think here, the black fish moving from outside way super tight. And I'm switching up to mixed water or out of RO water. So all I did, I'm not going to pull this one out. That would be too loud. Okay. They were already drilled holes. So I just turned it around and see. I think we should do a whole video on how to actually make it drill correctly, because this is almost a kitchen table project. This is the kitchen table project. Yeah. Well, we can do that. If you can bend the pipe with the hair dryer, maybe? Can we get it on there? No. Okay, well, we're trying to make people not like hair double again. A hair dryer is a lot of good fun. Yeah. And obviously, we don't want everyone to have to go buy like heat gun. Yeah, okay. Or you can do it without burning down the house. And it will be connected with an electric stove or a gas stove. Here's the good thing. Is that something you can do while your wife is here, or should we? Yeah. Okay, well, the best wife then. The best thing is smell the hot stuff. So that'd be stuff you said, right? Of course. I'm going to have extra brine sauce. You must be speed order. I usually just find whatever thing I really want to for the rest of it. That's what I'm going to do to go over it. Okay. There's one guppy here. Corey gave me this guppy grass, and there was actually guppies that he was going to buy. You didn't know the guppy grass makes guppies? Yeah. You want to do that video, or you want me to show up now? I say we do that video. I'm sorry, clickbait, but I know you guys are going to want to see the whole build is the best way to do it. We don't have time to break one down and show you how to do it. What is this? That's what I left it. Let her or I offered directly. All right. So you took care of all the office space things. I'm playing with the background, which can be changed over the colors. I showed you the sunflower that'll come eventually. And we talked about what fish we got. And these are the first fish we got in. And you can offer them to me. No, I didn't think about it. But one thing I wanted to say is the fish is wearing like an house. And I want them to know where they better go on hang. Exactly. Exactly what I was thinking. Oh man. I think I may or may not hang out with Dean a lot. Wow. I honestly love watching fish right here because you can see the enjoyment. You can literally like watching the kids working. It's really it's but they crazy because if you put dry fish in there, the fish go crazy. Yeah. Go for a ride, buddy. Because even a mono and other shrimp would be right here too. Like they look at that road. And these happen to be according to brine ear bags. I mean, any brine ear bag will go nuts for, but these ones are terrible. Well, I'm trying to take my mind over there. I'll let other people tell you, but I think they're the best, and yeah, this is awesome. Yeah. Totally. I think you're going to sit at your desk and watch me take a lot, actually. No, I just Alright. That's actually something I miss. I haven't laid on the floor and watched fish in probably 4 years now. Right. I used to do it all the time. I think it's because I had more things from my house. And, well, when I had less space, I was forced to put things on the ground, and then when you lay down on the ground, you expect the space to get back up. And then so I would actually see some cool stuff laying there for a while. So there's a couple things here. That's one of the benefits of having a big or a lot of tanks is you can actually go back a second time and be like, oops, right. So, I don't know why you always put it, I guess, put it for the tree, but. Okay, the rest of it. Oh, these are. Yeah. you went to 40, no, I went to 10. Let's see. Oh, then we have to go and get some clams. Yep. Alright, so here we get blood work. Oh yeah. I'm getting blood work and what are these? Sonic credits. If you're doing frozen, you're doing frozen. I can't believe you keep the frozen on a different level of your house. For a guy that has everything in his place, 100% organized. Okay, let's go see the frozen. Alright.
My parents gave Asiago bagel snacks are just $7.99 each, packed with full flavors and here for a limited time. Moisturizes while it tickles, like a softly frosty almond peppermint breeze on your lips. Burt's Bees.
Videos like this right here is what we do all the time. We put out a video every week that's educational. We also do a live stream that's educational and a Q&A session. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and we'll see you in the next one. And I can't keep it downstairs because of this. This is my freezer. There's some quote-unquote crunch bags. There's some frozen food. Yeah, I got the Brine. Sure. And there's bloodwood, fried shrimp, both cheap and flat tops. There's a local store that's supplying it way too well. There's cyclones. And, well, I think that was a mistake. Randy was supposed to order 60 cases. I'm glad I beat that. You buy it? No, well, then I'm glad that. He'll take it out of this. Alright, I can see how you don't have the space, but I'm more impressed that freeze looks like it's from 1970. It is. It'll probably last forever now, because if that old school is made and it's going to live forever, where they learned, like, you better make it than break it, otherwise you'll only ever sell one. If you get that now, then you know that's 6.2 ounces just by feel, right? No. So like, for 40, so they 40, so they can expect it 40. 40, so that. I know. That's how you can get a fish store, like, the back of your like 1 pound. Yeah. Flats. Break it down. And I don't buy the 1 pounds, just because they won't break it. Yeah. I think that the plastic's actually too thick, and you could, like, stretch it way too far. Yeah, you can't land it through. So you're the one that's flying all the claims besides me there. How many claims do you have? How many bags do you got? You were out for a while. I'll tell Keith. You need one? I got extra. No, you have some, but we were out. He is really taken to eating ladybird. Yeah. It's like her favorite thing to do. She's like, well, you gotta eat for breakfast, and she eats lunch, and she eats dinner. The smell. Those don't smell like, wait, you don't put those in your mouth and stop? No. And then you just brought them to the puppers when you get down there. It smells like touch toast. But no, it's just thinking edible, right? No wonder the mouth's fine. You're not being perfect. Do you always use Hannah Montana as your background for your tanks? No, she's not a tank. There's a whole story behind Hannah Montana. Should we let people know? Because I know people lost their minds last time. We thought you were a giant weirdo. So, as you can see, this is a race car, that's a race car, it's a race car. Are you just trying to make it seem more macho? This is a race car, behind there is a race car. I don't know where Hannah Montana goes. Firework stuff, there's a race, a slot car race track. So it looks like it's Emerald City Speedway, right? So I used to have races here for slot car racers on a monthly basis, $10,000 buy-in, and one of them was my birthday. And so they all got together, and everything that came from my birthday was Hannah Montana stuff. So this is actually a piece of the wrapping that we cut out. Put it out, put it on the door, of course the poster, and of course you're going to use fish tanks with products. So I can pull it off the wall here.
sorry to disappoint you. I have a little girl. She likes to come up in the yeah, just wafers with wood. Yeah. She needs, I don't even know what these are called, but somewhere in the dregs of aquarium co-op video, this video is maroon with chlorine sitting in the middle of a small river, cooling off, and you were talking about how sand is sharp. Yeah, for the corridors and stuff, yeah. That is where you came from. I remember that. We were trying to talk about these sort of things. I think they're called lanceolatas. I think you might be right. And I kept them because I was fascinated by all sorts of things. Great. I know the big kids were kids. I was kids in anything, imagine. So I figured these out today to you on wood stuff. Okay. Sorry, you took out dinner. Okay, distance further right here. They're getting ready to spawn. They might not be too interested in food. These just big baby brine shrimp are going to eat this too. From baby brine to frozen brine shrimp. I think that's what it is, right? Frozen brine and also lots of big lots of brine. Extreme nano pellets. That's usually what I like to next. Krill flakes, I want them to eat everything. That's my actual goal. This is just a little protein flake. Blackouts. These guys are easy to come out. Oh, you're missing something. Whoa, there's a camera there. That's amazing. The trick is when you put a camera on and it'll let me go. Half the time when we put the camera on, we just laugh at speed to it. You guys show up? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. This is really cool. So, right before they got there, or right before we got there, the angels started spawning on the head of my Easter Island. Is that Easter Island statue is a fertility thing? Did you get leopards on it? Leopard? Yeah, giant leopard. And talk about big guys ants. Look at the size of those little ants. I was noticing your beds over here. Yeah, you know that's actually Brine set up. Video on how I do it. Right now they're not together because I was planning on traveling. Right. But they're ready to spawn. And they probably have to attend to it. You feed frozen more than once a day or just once a day? I'll feed in the basket every other day. Okay. Most of the time, morning and night is dry. Sometimes the fry over here will get cyclops from cyclops. But I roast way more stuff. So I try to feed it best. And I hate to say it, no, I don't think you can say it. But the truth is, since fisheries have been getting better and better, just because I don't rely on frozen too much longer. Makes my life easy. Are those rubber bands to keep the temp from moving? Yeah. because I'm together. Yeah. And when it's not so bad when you bump it higher, as long as it's not too much higher. How many hours do you think you spend a day in the fish room on average but not traveling? If I have to? Not if you have to, but like if you, are you thinking like, oh yeah, because let's say it takes you an hour to feed,
Is it mostly like, yeah, mostly just feeding, or do you have other time you spend on stuff? Normally, but depends on how much maintenance I have. Like if I'm filling the math filters, you know, that's an hour per tank. But it's once every 6 months on that tank. Sure. So what I normally do is, let's just take this tank. Those are permits already excelled. I try to sell the whole time. And then, since there's no fish left in the tank, that's a good time to clean the filter in the tank. So I'll drain the tank, completely take everything out, clean the filter, and set it back up and then add fish left to it. So I'm not doing 5 of them all the same day. I'm just doing them as and I found that that's an easier way to do it when you have these sponge filters. You know, it's like, we're not having to move stuff from tank to tank. That's the time. Wait a minute, no, you? We're not having to move stuff from tank to tank. That's the easiest time to do your maintenance. So I just work mainly with whatever else is going on. I still got extra blood. And you know who else is going to get these? Yep. You look at this, oh, it's slimy. Is it always plants with these guys? No. It's plants, bloodworms, snails. At one point, they were eating some of the, what are those little red wiggly things that you know what? Oh, vibromites? Vibromites. Okay. That's how they're not big. They won't, or you don't eat it? They won't. They won't stay. So, female, male, and I have no idea what the small one is. Is this far enough away for you? Yeah. They're too far away for me. I can do this. They started attacking me right away.
Purina Cat Chow for curious kittens and cats of all ages. Why is that so good? So annoying.
But they're salty shamrocks. I love them.
Is that a smile?
This is a salty club.
Salty. You're gonna get us kicked out.
So?
It's better loved by everyone. Even the saltiest.
So what do you think of these backgrounds? I'm torn. I mean, I do like having background, but if I'm being 100% honest, I don't like the matte film. Oh, these guys, because they go 3/4, like awesome, and then like 5/3, where right above it, like that was super cool. Right. And I know the testing you're doing with like this, so I know there's some stuff where we've been sticking and trying, and you know, I'm a fan of background. I am officially not a fan of Universal Rock as a company, but it's so completely that I'm forced to use some of their products. So of all the fish in my fish room, what are your 2 most favorite? Honestly, it's like what would I want to take home if I was... Right now, I feel like I would really take a group of orange lasers home. I really miss eating them because those were super fun. So I would take that. And I'm trying to think of what other fish that I enjoy keeping. Like, you got a lot of eagles, you got a lot of rams. I like to look at them, but I don't like to keep them. Right, fish, I have them, but they are on my list. Yeah, they are on my list of, like, super cool. I'm trying to think what I would want to watch. I might do a big school of turbines, right? I have a dream of, like, where I've got a tank with, like, 500 of them. I still remember when we went to the fish farm and saw those schools outside. I'm like, oh my god, I want a school like that someday. I mean, I like all the photos, but I already know, like, they go to my house, I'd be like, yeah, they look cool, but I'm too lazy to spawn, or they really don't really come out where you can see them. Right. I do like the distance, but I couldn't say they're my favorite. Like, I'll probably get some from you at some point, and I keep them for 6 or 8 months, like, that was a cool phase I did, but I know I'm not going to love them forever. And what if I got to do a fall in love with them? I'd have to have that, you know, I'd have to fall in love with them, you know. But you got a very different fish taste than I do in general, and the schools overlap on me both. already have like pickup feet and things like that. So no, I think that's the distance though. Lights going up to like 11. Jimmy, it's 11. That's right, I'm filming. We got, by the way, so people know, people, to give you a reference of time, we got here at 7. That's right. We're now 4 hours into filming to make this video and one other video happen, but just know that, why don't you make more videos? Well, you make a long time to film, that's why. I really thought it was the pizza, but, we did have we were into knowing that we were going to be here for a long. I was like, we had until midnight, and I ate at 4. So I'm like, well, is that the Wi-Fi tower? How convenient was that? It is. How is it? It's the I think it also just captures up and turn the lights on and off. That's actually one of my favorite features, that it really states that. Like literally, that's why I use it when I'm in my bedroom outside of the normal hours. I pull out the phone, put things back on. Yeah. Sometimes I do that when it's late night meeting. That happens frequently. But I just say, okay, I'm gonna leave lights on for another hour. Look at these guys. So this is actually the first Episto that I ever spawned. In the 80s. So what are we in now, Jimmy? The 20s. Yeah. 40 years ago. 40 years ago. This is the first Episto I ever spawned. But it can't be mad. Like, alright. Yeah. Alright, well, we can end this video and talk about what we got around. Yeah, and it's working. Nice. Right.
Why's your mom been so careful?
Enjoy the confidence, finally reaching our blocks with 100% accuracy and maximum weight on people. Maybe a little too much confidence. I'm double fine. Whoa, you got flash? What? Big flash? What's gonna hide? Here's what I put in. Nice flat box. That's what I like here. I think they just have your number. Is that freaking amazing? Yeah, that's our self-portrait. She's 28. I had to take fish today. It's the hottest freaking day of the year. That's scary. That is scary. Baby, 97. Those are kind of the game. Oh, they're tigers. They're not tigers. Uh-oh. Hey there, buddy. Hey there, buddy. You play this game, Dean? Like so. See that? I was gonna say that's awesome. Can we find the restaurant there? I just do cuttings and start with plants. That's the one that's floating. That's the one that's floating. I just want to see if it's rooting. I think it is. I think it is rooting. Even in the water like that. Like this one, I'll take all the long ones, cut them and root them. Like a... No, it's like a stem plate. Yeah. Yeah. Put anything else in that. We're going this way first. Look at that. Hey! Is that freaking amazing? Where'd that go from? Remember I was talking about those endlers? Oh, word. Can't go on the video, but not yet. That one's temporary. Oh, like temporary. Just still temporary. So you can still see it. I can feel it. No, there is more. There's more.